2 years ago, Steve Kerr protested police officers being present on school grounds. He protested in the wake of the George Floyd incident, Buck, and demanded that school police officers be removed because he said they weren't safe for the students there. Steve Kerr is the Warriors basketball coach. There was a game in Dallas last night. They had a moment of silence for the victims. I think that was the right call for Mark Cuban's team in Dallas. But I saw this. I don't know. I'm assuming you did too, Buck. This thing went more viral than almost any video in the wake of the shooting. Listen to Steve Kerr.
When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. Do you realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check? 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite what we, the American people, want. They won't vote on it because they want to hold on to their own power. It's pathetic. I've had enough.
All right, so he's screaming at everyone inside of this press availability about a bill that I don't think would do anything to stop what actually has occurred, because my understanding is this 18-year-old legally bought these weapons in a retail establishment and that he was legally allowed to have them, right? Certainly you can't bring firearms onto school grounds. You certainly can't murder someone. There are many different laws in existence already that he violated. But the thing that I would point out about Steve Kerr, and what I think is interesting about what he said, is it was widely acclaimed on social media. Yet 2 years ago, Steve Kerr protested police officers being present on school grounds. He protested in the wake of the George Floyd incident, Buck, and demanded that school police officers be removed because he said they weren't safe for the students there. What should happen to Steve Kerr, if we had a legitimate media that actually did its job, was people would say, wait, you responded emotionally to George Floyd and demanded that all school police officers be removed, and now you're responding emotionally to this shooting and demanding something else. Isn't the best thing we could do for kids in schools to have armed police officers there to protect them? That's the question that a real media would have asked.
Well, I think Steve Kerr is a moron, and I'd ask for his opinion on a zone defense maybe, and not a whole lot more. I mean, this is...
I agree with you. Unfortunately, we treat people like Steve Kerr as if they are experts on this issue, and if they're going to step into politics, they should get quizzed on their prior political statements, which contradict.
But, of course, then when you box Steve Kerr into a corner on policy, he goes, hey, man, I'm a basketball coach. I don't know. This is what they pound the table and demand action. But notice this has become reflexive from Democrats. They will say, and again, when I say Democrats, I mean the vice president, the president. I'm talking about the people that move the national discussion. They demand action, and they act like Republicans stand in the way. Okay, Democrats have a de facto majority in the Senate. They have a majority in the House. Pass your gun control law. Let's go. Let's see what they want to actually do. And when they go through that process, there'll be a lot of people who know much more about firearms, law enforcement, have honest and serious ideas. I mean, you're talking about armed security. What stopped this mass murder from happening? It was a member of Border Patrol who was close enough that he was able to engage the shooter. There was a tactical team, but I believe, and we're still getting details on this one guy went in there probably with a sidearm only against this shooter, right? So that's what ended this. So it's a good guy with a gun, stopped, tragically not before anybody was obviously, caught in this mass murder, but a good guy with a gun stopped the situation from happening. So having a discussion about armed security, that's a serious conversation, right? People can say, well, where and how, and fine. But that's a serious national conversation about policy. Having a discussion about what to do with involuntary commitment, people who are, I don't know what else to say, seems like they're right out of the mold of the Columbine shooters
mentally
or Adam
unstable.
Lanza. Somebody who, you look at all of the background of the Buffalo shooter and now this Uvalde shooter. People knew this wasn't. We were led to believe, oh my gosh, this person in the the initial moments of this, maybe they snapped. No, they snapped over a long period of time when everyone knew that this was somebody who was probably dangerous. But what can you do about that? Will the ACLU, which is obviously a very left-wing organization, continue with its posture of essentially deciding that extreme mental illness is something that there can be really no intervention. Until you commit a crime, extreme mental illness is something that people just have a right. And you see this on a much lesser level in major cities where people walk around in broad daylight, urinating in the streets, shouting. I see this all the time, Clay, in New York. People who are clearly insane. And, maybe some of them are dangerous, some of them aren't. Most of them aren't a danger, but the point is, are we going to look at trying to change the laws about involuntary commitment so that you would be able to take somebody and the state will take them out of society until they're clearly not a threat? To just say magazine limitations, and if you don't want to do that, you're awful. To say assault rifle ban, even the assault rifle ban they talk about, the Washington Post, Clay, did a fact check on this. Biden's, we banned assault rifles, it brought down violence. That is not true. So does it matter that it didn't work before? I'm just wondering. Does it matter that it didn't actually bring down homicides and shootings and mass shootings? No, they don't care. So when we sit here and say, okay, let's have a real conversation, they want to just throw things at the people they don't like politically, and it's gross.
And unfortunately, this is a symptom of a larger issue of gun violence all over the country being committed by criminals. And the way to combat criminals is to have more police officers. So ultimately, what this all reinforces, and I say this as a parent, I am ecstatic that there is an armed police officer every single day at my kids' public elementary school here in the Nashville area. I would want the same thing for my kids as I would for everybody out there who's listening's kids. So that's a real conversation we should have. That's why I want to look at the particular facts here, find out how this shooter got into the school. Why was there not an armed security there? What protocols could have been in place to stop this from happening? Screaming about guns, there's no real solution here from a gun perspective, because Buck, I don't even know what the logical extension of this is. Do you want the government going around knocking on doors, removing all guns? I mean, I don't really understand where this logically leads to. I have yet to be persuaded that the reason why a crazy person is crazy is impacted. The gun laws would have changed that crazy person from being able to behave in a crazy way. I always used to say on my old show years and years ago, because we've been talking about this for a long time, you can't stop crazy, right? There's always going to be crazy people. What can you do to put protocols in place so that those crazy people have as little power as possible? I'm open to all those discussions. To me, armed security at schools makes sense, and as many policies inside of the school to keep people from being able to enter as possible. I want to know what failed here.
And I would like to see us move toward, as a country, discussions about it, because we all actually want the same thing. There are some things that we can still say as America. We all want kids to be safe. We want everybody to be safe, obviously, from an incident like this, but we want our children, first and foremost, to be safe. So if we could start from a place of good faith in these conversations, I think we would get a lot further and have much more productive discussion about making sure that we achieve that goal that we do universally share of keeping the kids safe.